The DC fandom is thirsty for Dick Grayson. It's something that's become a bit of a meme over time. It's gotten to the level where DC Comics themselves have started to get in on it, which for some means it's veering into cringe. It's gone too far. Can we take it back? For those who have dipped their toes into fandom, they may have come across the whole Nightwing has a great butt thing. We did a whole video on it. And in 2025, DC is leaning into it. There's actually a DC Go web-based original series called Nothing But Nightwing. Yes, of course, with 2 T's. He was also one of the few male heroes to get a pumpkin spicy variant cover for September of 2025. Now, we've gone in depth into Nightwing exploitation. We did that in the butt video and discussed part of how it came about and how people feel about it, how some love it and view it as a reclamation, while others it makes them feel uncomfortable, either because it just seems to be too much or it's not a balancing of the scales, which is what some view it as, or for some it's just the history that Nightwing has as a character with being assaulted and then having this piled on top of him. That was a very Cliff Notes version. We went way more in depth there. I'll link it below. Because today we're here for something different, to discuss how this love for Dick Grayson, this fixation on his appearance, it's not something that appeared when he became Nightwing. It's older. We're gonna look at a time when Robin's fans got obsessed with the idea that he needed a new costume. It got to the point where DC even made a small story around it. I'm Sasha, this is Casually Comics, and we're about to see a whole bunch of alternate costumes a la Supergirl. Special thanks to channel member Harry, who sent me an email with one of these images, which prompted me to remember that I hadn't done a full video on this yet, so thank you. Now, while some will even question if Batman needs a Robin, the Boy Wonder has been extremely popular throughout the years. It waxes and wanes, but in the mid-70s, Robin was enjoying a bit of a high point. He had his own very intense fan club. Part of this was aided by the popularity of the 66 Batman series and Burt Ward. Burt Ward fangirlies, even though there were more than girls among them, were no joke. Girlies is just the hip internet slang time of recording that's here to date the video. Now, Robin's fans at the time were called the Robin Ruters. And in the mid to late 70s, they really wanted Robin to get a new costume, something more hip and contemporary, something to age him up. They felt he needed to grow. In Batman 259 from the year 1974, it even notes that some of these fan-designed costumes are going to be shown off in the issue. That issue also has a lot of other things going on besides that from a historical point. The first story is a Batman Shadow team-up by Denny O'Neil that's dedicated to Bill Finger, who had passed away. It was still decades out from Finger getting his much-deserved Batman co-creator credit. But that's a story for another time. Now, on to the costumes. Hi there. From time to time, readers have written in suggesting my Boy Wonder uniform be updated to give me a modern teenage image. In fact, some have designed their own concepts for costumes. Here are a few samples. We are so far back that there is a hyphen between teen and age. Let's take a look at them. I'll go into why I'm highlighting them so intensely a bit later on, but for now, let's enjoy. This one by Carol has a mustache that is very 1970s, and it took what he had and very much expanded upon it. Same with Brian's, but I love the homage to Dick's first appearance in Detective Comics 38 in 1940 with him bursting through the paper drum. Anthony has Robin showing off even more skin, and he has a goatee, and the elf boots have raised backs. I feel like this would rub against his legs. Steven submitted this one that has covered hair for him, which feels like a bold choice for Robin. Most costumes have him with his hair out, so that's definitely a different direction. Side note, that costume to me reminded me a lot of the costume they put Bruce in the Elseworld story where he became Green Lantern. That's decades later, but it's just what my mind flashed to. Also, some of these may have been inspired by alternate Robin costumes that already existed, because one would have seen some different takes on Robin in some of the crossover adventures between Earth 1 and Earth 2, because there Robin stayed Robin to adulthood, and so then you would see different costumes for him. But wait, there's more. The next page boasts 3 designs that are each fairly unique and offer something different, but on theme. David's really leans into the circus element, while Jim's has Dick looking like Superman. Carl's gives him some interesting wings under the arms. These are all pretty cool, and it's just nice to see them, but these weren't all of them, not by far. In 1976, in Batman Family number 4, you would see some more, and Batman Family was a short-lived anthology series that ran from 1975 to 1978. It ended up collapsing under the DC implosion. It would be a combination of original stories and some reprints. It's also still the era where Barbara is older than Dick, and so he has a bit of a crush on her, but they don't have the romance that they will come to have later on. Now, in Batman Family number 4, there's a 2-page spread that showcases the costumes. And once more, it highlights that it's showing off fan looks. Now, these Batman Family issues have been upgraded, digitized. There's some of the ones you could get fairly easily reprinted for a time, especially when Comixology was still in its heyday. However, sadly, in those updates, things like the letters pages and these fan pages were not included. So these types of pages, if not preserved and talked about, are on their way to becoming a lost moment of fandom history. Because some things like this aren't as well known as, say, the Supergirl costumes, which many of them would be featured across stories. Some of these contests and things just don't get as talked about. but they're significant moments in fandom history because they're showcasing these periods of interactivity between the creators and the fandom. And as we're about to see, sometimes that can actually lead to much, much more. These fandom pages are cool, and the fans worked hard and put themselves out on a limb, putting themselves out there, sending this stuff in. And just in general, like the letters column, it lets you get a window into the headspace and the history of fandom, which is a part of the comic experience. It feeds into the tapestry and the joy of the hobby. Although mileage may vary, some may not feel that it's important at all. Seeing some of these makes me feel like it would be cool to maybe at some point have them referenced contemporarily like they're doing over in the Supergirl series in 2025. Just some way to fit them in a little bit. Like getting to see Janet's very casual disco outfit. We can have more Disco Robin outside of Disco Wing. This one by Steve Smith that adds a whole lot of black to the color scheme. You have Chris's with the belly cutout. The way Michael's has the green laid out in such a way that it looks like there's a bat on Robin's chest. Also, that headpiece looks real uncomfortable. Roberts has chest hair, a very 70s choice, just like the mustache. Not everybody needed to be smooth in the 70s. Now, Batman Family number 13 from 1977 has even more, and Robin is beefier than ever. Not only is he getting a new costume, he hit the gym. And this page is extra special because on it is designed by someone who would go on to become a very well-known Batman artist. The bottom left, where Robin has a sweet pirate bandana, is designed by Norm Breyfogle, who submitted that design to DC at 13 years old, making that his first published comic work, and I think that's awesome. It's always such a fun full circle moment when fans get to go on to work on a character that they enjoyed and were inspired by, and then in turn inspire others. It's part of a glorious cycle that keeps it alive. But as mentioned at the video's start, there was more to this than the showcases. In 1978, in Detective Comics 481, which had to abruptly fold in stories from Batman Family, which had been canceled during the DC implosion as mentioned, this was the first issue to do that, and there's an explanation given by the editor Paul Levitz in the next issue. But for 481, there's a solo story called Does the Costume Make the Hero? It's written by Bob Rozakis with art by Don Newton and inks by Dan Adkins, Gene D'Angelo on colors. It's a story that features the Robin Ruters in-universe. Welcome to the latest meeting of Robin's official fan club being held in the Hudson University Gymnasium. The topic of today's meeting, a new look for Robin. Dozens of entries were considered, and now Robin Ruters president, Margie Spratt, presents the 3 semi-finalists. There you are, Robin, the 3 best costumes as voted by the members of the Robin Ruters. Which one do you want to wear first? So they do incorporate these into the actual story, but they do also take time out to praise and highlight the designers. Number 1, designed by Joe Montgomery of Abilene, Kansas. Number 2, designed by Paul Decker of Los Angeles. Or number 3, designed by George T. Johnston of San Francisco. Special thanks to these Robin Ruters for sending in the designs, and to all the rest of you who did. Now, admittedly, in the issue itself, Robin is slightly put upon because he is supposed to be investigating this disappearance of a Gary Stevens and also a device that he had created, this stress tester, but he does indeed wear each costume in the order listed. His ex is there too with her new boyfriend, and there's a panel where he tries to talk to her. Her name is Lori, and it really highlights that even before Nightwing, this whole Robin butt was in play. Let's go. Hi Lori. We're busy. Go feather a nest, bird boy. Lori can't talk to you right now, Robin. She's doing stuff. Things. So Robin starts off his investigation in that first costume. He doesn't get to see too much action in it. He very quickly changes into the second one because it has a jetpack. It's after he's investigating Gary Stevens' room and they find some clues that he decides that maybe he needs to take to the sky, and what better way? I'll swing right around the campus, then swoop in on the guy with the binoculars. Hawkman I'm not, but at least I don't have any fear of flying. Mr. Spy Eyes is about to get a sky surprise. Tweet! Ah, what in blazes? Just a 165-pound Robin giving his bird call. He gets hit in the back of the head. Can you imagine how disconcerting it would be to just be doing something and then a vigilante just comes at you screaming tweet? Suddenly the Tick's battle cry of spoon is looking a lot more credible. Now, as for who hit Robin in the back of the head, that's the Raven. We're still a while out from the new Teen Titans Raven, who will then gain popularity and supplant other Ravens who appeared before. This Raven debuted in Batman Family number 18, and he's actually David Corby, who we already saw in this issue. He's the boyfriend of Lori, her new boyfriend, and he's super salty about Robin and Dick. The drama. He was already part of an ongoing arc that they were doing, but it works out to have him here this issue too, because then they get to have an aerial battle and you get to see the second costume in action. Good thing I equipped this costume with the regular equipment, Batrobe and Batarang. New look Robin, let's meet old look Robin. Cute, but I'm still quicker than your fastball. Stop crowing, Robin. Let's see you handle this. I just really like the action in this panel. How Robin is being swept off his feet. Now the Raven ends up escaping after he slams Robin into a wall. And now Robin needs to do more investigating because it turns out the Binocular Man is important. He gets this information from this police chief he's working with, and they're gonna go investigate together, but not before he switches costumes. Jetpack time is over. Well, you're not as grim and determined as Batman or as gorgeous as Batgirl, but I'd be happy to team up with you, Chief. Just hang in there till I switch out of this mess and pick up my cycle. Climb on, Chief. Maybe I better let you go solo on this, Robin. I'll draw you a map.
No way, we're in this together.
You know the chief just didn't want to get on the back of that motorcycle. I know what that position is called. I know biker slang.
This costume's got its advantages too. Like Batman's, it's dark colored. Much better for night moves than my regular suit.
I mean, the green's not that dark, Robin. You know, just thinking about it, Robin had some nice things to say about 2 and 3, less so about 1. 1 was the most different in that it really changed the color scheme. It went more Robin Bird color with the browns than these other ones. There was a brief comment about how it reminded him of the circus, but that was more about how he enjoyed getting attention. Now, while Robin is investigating Gary's disappearance, he has to burst through this window, and at first it seems like the gangsters are also maybe Robin Ruters because they're aware of the costume change. Robin, in the 3rd costume, get out of here fast. It turns out that this gangster had reason to know this. It's because they planted a bomb in his suit, which somehow Robin is able to get out of. Underwater, he dives into the water and gets it off, and the bomb goes off. We're nearly out of panels. He's got to hurry. The crooks get arrested. The hunt for Gary continues, and Robin decides, you know what? The best costume is the old costume. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't put pants on it.
I'd appreciate you bringing me my regular costume from under the cycle seat, Chief. I don't want to spend the rest of the night skinny dipping.
I think some of the Robin Ruters want that.
And from now on, the old look Robin is the only look Robin.
Now, this story is very much pieced together to allow Robin to try out each of these costumes. It's not the most substantial thing out there, although it does further the Raven and Robin's rivalry. It's mostly just a way to include this fandom moment and this fan group, and some of their designs, and from that perspective, it's nice. It treats the costumes as true costumes, not something to be mocked. It goes out of its way to try and highlight something cool about all of them. Even though for the first one, I'm pretty sure it's cheesecake or beefcake, both. It's just a nice comic moment and a period of good fandom and creator relations. It's a piece of fandom history and Robin costume history. Of all the costumes that we looked at today, were there any that you really felt worked or would like to see again in some capacity? Do you wish that contests like these still happen? Do you feel like they're feasible in this era? Or do you think that if one tried to do them, they'd run into legal trouble? Or do you feel like social media and the ability to share on there has kind of replaced this? Did I miss any other pages featuring these costumes? If so, let me know. Sharing is caring. If you were a Robin Rooter, please let me know. I would love to hear about that. Do you now just want a retrospective on Dave's Raven? I think I've asked you enough questions. You're overloaded. Thanks so much for taking some time today to spend discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it. Please do all the YouTube things. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the bell notification so that you never miss a vid. There will of course be more videos coming soon on what? Who knows? Wherever our whims take us. And I'll see you there. Bye-bye.